What are you doing out in LA?
I was taping like a pilot yesterday. That's why I was mainly in town. They flew me out for that, and then I just had like a couple meetings. I'm doing 2 shows at the Comedy Store tonight.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, like they put me on these lineups. I'm like, it's like me, Russell Peters, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All the fucking lineups are like that these days.
I know. I'm just like, I mean, like, listen, I'm like 9 years in. I'm certainly confident in my skills, but I'm not 20 years in.
Yeah. It's insane. I hate the fucking lights in here. I really genuinely hate these fucking lights.
You do?
I think they give me anxiety.
They're a little prison celly. I like it, but that's because I like a goth vibe. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, then my daughter Isla would love you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's all into. My one daughter's a hippie, and my other daughter's into goth.
Okay. Yeah.
I think goth is more. Sometimes I feel like goth is a representation of self-esteem.
Like high or low?
Like low self-esteem. I feel like it's like cover up your body, hide yourself. And I'm just saying that between my 2 daughters, because Isla is like a sweatshirt wearing, knee-high socks, like cover her body, don't want to show anyone, hides in a sweatshirt, and she gravitates towards goth and anime. Right. And Georgia is the complete and total opposite.
To me, I think of it more as like misunderstood.
Christina Pajitsky was like,
yeah.
I say goth, that's probably the wrong, but like the same goth, like dark makeup, black makeup.
I mean, it is. I was actually just talking in the car and I was like, yeah, you would think the goth scene in New York is bigger, but it's definitely bigger in LA.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So wait, then what is technically goth? Like what is, if you had to define goth? Because I'm only going off a 7th grader's view.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's more just like, it really is. It's very much like you dress like you, work at Hot Topic, and you're sad all the time, and you go to like Marilyn Manson concerts and call him daddy. I mean, that's also what I do. So I try to be a goth adult, but it's a little hard. And you can't be goth on stage unless you're doing like a goth character, and I don't want to be like a goth stand-up comedian. Yeah. Because then it'll be like Molly Shannon on SNL when she did a sketch on SNL where she did some kind of like a Wayne's World but goth from her basement. Really? And it's it's just comical.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I'm having regret. I get like it's not obsessive compulsive, but it's like when I do something I regret, I then chew on it and beat myself up for it.
Oh, I think that's just being a person.
I would love to be a narcissist. I have OCD.
Oh yeah, a lot of comedians do. But I have like, it's even hard to do auditions because I have like little, like my eyes, like little tics and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like I just went on tape like a couple hours ago, and I hate it because you can, like in theater acting, you can't really notice if someone has a tic, but then on film you're like, why did she just have a seizure? Or
if you get me into thinking about a tic, I'll develop a tic.
Right.
Like, and that's the way my brain works.
Touching stuff a lot, like an even amount of times.
The joke I wrote 2 days ago, because my watch counts my steps, and I said, call me old school. I'm OCD. I count them myself. We had a friend who got me into counting how many steps were on a staircase whenever you went there, see if it's, and so, and it was like in apartment buildings, and I would be like, I just got into the habit of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay,
yeah,
12,
and then it
12.
becomes something that you have to do, otherwise something bad's gonna happen.
I was wondering, this is a really perfect fold into my spin class thoughts today. I was wondering, the teacher said at the very beginning, let go of everything that doesn't serve you. And and as he said that, I heard my brain go, well, that's everything.
Well, I mean, not your family.
No, but like all the thoughts I have, all the thoughts are all negative. And I
really?
Like, yeah, well, I mean, sometimes, not all the times. Sometimes I don't have any thoughts. Sometimes I'll I have intrusive thoughts. So sometimes like thoughts will just come out of nowhere and I don't want them. Okay. And so, but anyway, I was like, I wonder if at a young age, I found a way to not love myself. I felt guilty about loving myself. Really? And then I developed a mannerism of self-deprecation, but it's internalized, of self-deprecating myself and beating myself up for things. Mm-hmm. I was like, I haven't been in therapy in a while, and I was like, I should start therapy up while I'm home because I've been on tour, so it just doesn't fit.
Oh, I do Talkspace, so I can do it anytime, anywhere.
What's Talkspace?
Just Skyping into with a therapist, but that's the only therapist I've ever had. Same
therapist?
Yeah, for me, that's the only therapist I've ever had, because the only time I had therapy, I started therapy like maybe like a year ago.
Yeah.
Because I never felt like I needed it. It's because of this business that I feel like I needed it.
Okay, so I was wondering, is it this business? Is it, if I was like a bricklayer, would I I have any negative thoughts? Would I have any like almost, it sounds silly, but like daddy issues, like say you're in business and the deal may not go through, and then you want to get that guy to like you so the deal goes through, and it's like, it's a fucked up way to think. And I go, am I in this bit? Is it this business is doing it to me?
I think you'd still be you, but I think this business definitely makes everything worse as far as like mental issues or any like body image issues kind of things, because you're constantly having to look at a reflection of yourself that no one else in a non-entertainment business occupation has to do, and you're getting constant feedback on yourself, and you don't, and like especially with social media, you can't. It's harder to be like, well, that person's a fucking loser.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just seeing a handle saying it to you. So it's just these voices.
Yeah, you don't know who that person that comments, and you're like, oh, you're a piece of fat fuck, and you're like, oh, and then you look at their profile, it's private, and you're like, oh, that maybe
because they're a fat fuck too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the craziest thing that happened to me, is when we started that fat shaming campaign, me and Tom, is the amount of people that would attack me were all overweight. It was, they weren't I don't think they were attacking me in a vicious way, although it was coming out. They were leaving out the comedic punctuations in their sentence, and so their sentence was just coming off as a statement. They thought they were being funny, and it was hurting my feelings. And then I was like, and then I had to almost give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because I was like, okay, you follow me,
yeah,
and I see that you probably go to some of my shows. I know you're trying to be funny, you're just not doing it right.
Yeah.
It's the one business where it's like, because no one does that in sports, because we're comedians, they throw them back at us, but they're not good at it.
Well, because everyone's like made someone laugh at a dinner party, so everyone thinks they can be a comedian. That's a problem.
Everyone thinks they can be a comedian.
That's why people put their feet on the stage. When they're done with a basket of fries, they'll place it on. That doesn't happen at Hamilton on Broadway. It's just because it feels like something that is very accessible, which is one of my favorite things about comedy. It's like one of the most accessible arts for anyone from any background, from any financial status. Like every culture has a comedy, but it's also because it feels so relatable, people also think they can do it, and then we get no respect.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people think they can do it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was one of those people.
Well, but you can do it. And that's the problem, because for every
this is the problem.
500, 1,000 people who think that they can do it, one of them actually can, and then it starts all over again. It's like when someone like falsely accuses someone of rape, and then women just start from one. That's back to one.
That's the craziest fucking thing is those false accusations then quantify every guy that's like, I need proof.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with people who think they can be comedians, because every now and again someone is funny who you didn't expect to be funny.
I went to a comedy club when I first before I was even in the business, and I was like, I could do this. And I heckled and I destroyed.
Oh, you heckled.
I know. Nice. I really regret it.
Wow.
I really regret it now. I was like, I think it's part of being a man is this bachelor. Like, the world revolves around me. If I cheat on her, who gives a fuck? This girl's hotter. I love Ari Shaffir to death, but it's the frustrating thing about Ari is that Ari lives in a world that all he really has to take care of is Ari Shaffir. So sometimes he's like a fucking freight train going through life where you're like, I just can't drop everything and motorcycle the Ho Chi Minh Trail, Ari.
Right.
Like, that's not going to happen. I have a fucking family I have to take care of. And he's like, just do it. Tell everyone you're going away. Who cares? You go on the road, it's the same thing. And you're like, no, it's not the same thing. But I was in the front row of a comedy club in Tallahassee. I forget the name of it. And the guy's punchline was, it's a styrofoam cooler. They were talking about floating or something down a river. And he hit the punchline. It's a styrofoam cooler. And nothing laughed. And he waited and he kind of looked confused. and no one's still laughing. And I was with my buddy Eddie and I just went, oh, a styrofoam cooler, and the place went fucking nuts. And this guy looked at me like steel beams shooting out of his eye. Just and
he probably still thinks about you to this day.
I hope. I wish he knew. I wish I knew the joke better so I could really find out, because you know us, we'll know everyone's joke.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, if you could find out who it was, or like go back in time for the records of the Tallahassee Comedy Club for that weekend.
But yeah, there is a weird thing that everyone thinks they can do it. What's going on in New York? New York seems like there's been a wokeness.
Oh gosh, is there not here?
No, I mean not
really?
Not in. See, I think. I mean, I'm once again, I'm speaking out of my ass, but I think Louis divided the lines, and I think it seems, I'm not in New York, but all I see is like posts from New York comics that are very woke. Our alt scene, I guess, is like that, but no one's really there. Like, not to be shitty about the alt scene, but it's just
it's just funny.
It was huge in like 2008. The alt scene was fucking everything.
Yeah.
And then when comedy had its boom, a lot of the really good alt performers just wanted to work also, and so they'd work the store. Now that I think the shift has changed, the store's very popular, the improv's very popular, the Ice House is very popular, and I think the cream rises to the top. I think I'm not shit. I mean, it comes out like I'm shitting on the alt scene. I'm not. And I'm sure there's a wokeness there. But in a weird way, you accept it when you go to the UCB, or you accept it when you go to Meltdown. You're like, well, I definitely don't say fat chick, or I don't say. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Or you do, and then you just mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah. Like Meltdown, you're like, no, I get it. I get what we're.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I know jokes that aren't going to do well in certain rooms, but I go, do I not do them and cater to the room, or do I do my set the way I want to do them and make them fucking deal with it, even if I bomb? And I usually try to challenge myself and do this like this. There are jokes that I know that are going to get me in a fight with someone who's like wearing like a vintage Trader Joe's t-shirt afterwards, and I do it anyway.
This guy went up last night, and he was like, he's a white guy, and he was doing Kill Tony, and he was like, what's up? He's like, I think we're done with white people. He's a white guy. I think we're done with white people.
Only a white person would say that.
Yeah, I think we're done with white people. There's enough of them. I'm not going to have kids, so I'm not going to make more white people.
Oh, my God.
And I stopped him. I didn't stop him. He got let him get done. And then I said, I want to flamethrow the room that joke works in. I want to lock the doors like dirty, what's the... Inglorious Bastards, and torch the fucking room that show works in. I said, Mexicans in this room are looking at you like you're a fucking idiot. I was like, what the fuck? No one would rightfully say my race is done. Right. What the fuck? That you would never say that. If a black guy said that, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Right.
If anyone, it's such a weird energy that I'm seeing. It feels like young comics are doing.
Yeah, see, I actually didn't. I'm kind of like walking into. I haven't done shows in LA. I mean, in I guess like 6 months probably. And so I was walking into the shows tonight thinking like I have to be prepared for kind of I don't usually say woke, but like a wokeness.
Oh no.
I don't think. No. I was like, I don't think white people, speaking of us, are allowed to. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely super sensitive. There's a whole list of words that you can't say, but I mean, it's very weird because you'll think like, oh, I'm doing a room in Brooklyn, I can't say X, Y, and Z, but then sometimes it'll surprise you, and then you actually can't say those things on the Lower East Side. So it's like you're traveling 3 miles, and people's whole mindset is different. And then of course tourists don't give a shit.
That's the middle
so you're
of the
doing
country.
Clubs, they don't care. And in fact, sometimes, comics are walking into a room, and because they're in New York, they think, oh, everyone here voted for Hillary, not Trump, and people are heckling things because they're visiting from the Midwest and they did vote for Trump.
Yeah.
And because there's that New York especially pretentious vibe where we just assume like everyone's on our page and everyone thought the way thinks the way we do.
LA's got that too. We've got that too. Not so much at the store. I think the stores, for lack of better words, is pretty middle of the country, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that the acts that work there would work anywhere. You can say, I mean, listen, I've said the N-word at the store. I mean, like,
how'd that go for you?
Good.
Yeah,
it's a good joke. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's as long as it's. And that's
if it's a joke, like I actually had a couple black comics. I was talking about the joke, and they said, "Well, just try it." And I said, "All right, I'll try it. Tell me what you think." I did it in the belly room.
Yeah.
And it killed. And they were like, "I think it's a great fucking joke."
But you're also you, so it's like, would you do that before you are like you, Bert Kreischer?
Oh, I was 10 times worse. I was horrific. I was on a race to be edgy. I wanted to be the edgiest guy in the fucking room. I thought that was what got you points.
Okay.
I thought that's how you succeeded, was being the edgiest motherfucker in the room. And then
when did you start taking your shirt off?
But back then.
Yeah.
No, yeah, back then. Probably 9 years ago. More than that. It's longer than I've had my podcast. Probably 9-10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But what happened to me is I worked at Travel Channel, and I got conscious of what I was saying because I could get fired.
Right.
And I was wondering, like, why am I saying certain things? I didn't like wake up, but I was just like, and at the time it's like all my friends were kind of like, they're all blowing up, and they were all going edgy, like Burr and Rogan and Ari and Joey and Tom are all very edgy comics. Not to say that I'm not edgy, but I think I do it in a different manner. I think I talk more about stories and my life, and I don't really go at like for me, I was just talking to Rogan about this, like I wanted to write a bit on veganism, but everyone's got their bit on veganism. Everyone does. And so what would separate me from it? So I went vegan, and I was like, I'm going to see what it's like to go vegan. And then I'll write from that perspective. That's how I approach material now, is a little more introspective as opposed to...
Very Stanislavski of you.
Well, it's not, but I do that with everything. Like,
yeah.
For like any stories about my family, it's always something we did together.
Right.
Any stories about... everything for me is very internal. And also, it's like, I don't think anyone really gives a fuck about my hot take on politics. You know?
Yeah, that's like not what you're known for. So
yeah.
And you don't. Everyone doesn't have to cover everything. I didn't even have a joke about Donald Trump until like a month ago, and it's just because it actually finally felt right for me to say something. Because again, that's like not what people are coming to me for. They're coming to me for like social issues, feminism, you know. And I love to. Just as much as I love to celebrate those things, I love to tear them down, because I'm like, the whole problem is that no one wants to be a feminist because it's fucking terribly branded, and it seems repulsive and not fun, and like everyone's a stick in the mud. So that's kind of like why I care so much about it, because the actual notion is great, but you gotta sell it. We're in America, you gotta sell it.
Feminism's a pretty badass movement to be behind.
Yeah, and if you're doing it right, but then you start screen printing it on Forever 21 t-shirts and making pussy hats, and then everyone's like, oh, this isn't good. Yeah. Like it's almost like you made it dorky. Yeah. And it's not dorky, it's empowering and phenomenal and important.
It's really important. I watch, and I know that this is one of those buzz things when a man says, I have 2 daughters, and references feminism in that way. But I watched the path that my daughters are getting to take in life, realizing if it wasn't for badass women, their life would be different. And I go, why wouldn't I support any movement that made anyone's life better? That's all I want, is anyone to be as happy as I am, you know? So like I was being a white male is pretty, like, not all white males, right? But my path in life has been pretty cake, right? And I'm aware of that. Yeah, I'm not going to call it privilege, although I would, but like, it's been.
Do you feel guilty about that though?
No, I feel no guilt.
Okay, because it's interesting, because I've had a really nice life too, especially for me. I didn't really notice it until I became a comedian, because I thought everyone I thought like it was few people who were traumatized or had really bad childhoods, and like those were the stories that we heard. But then I was like, oh no, mostly everyone has experienced some kind of trauma or has issues with their parents, and I am the weird one out for not. And that's why the way people I get a lot of people give me a lot of shit because they think I'm like hiding something, and I'm like, no, I just had a nice childhood, and I also don't know why I am a comedian now. Because I mean, for me, the reason I'm a comedian is like my dad owned a baseball card store, it still does, growing up, and he would come home and tell these really funny stories about his customers, and I would laugh to the point where I had to excuse myself from the dinner table because I was going to choke, and I would like I had a roll. I remember rolling around in the den to like get the laugh out, because you know, like when the laugh becomes so painful. Oh yeah. You're like, I just can't even handle this feeling anymore. And I my memory just remembered like that's the highest you ever felt, and wouldn't it be nice to make yourself laugh and then make other people feel like that all the time?
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. It's not like my mom fingered me, you know, like, and I feel like most people have that reason. And like, my mom totally didn't finger me, you know. I'd be much more popular if my mom did, probably.
I think it's okay. You being broken is a way to be a comedian. I'm sure I'm broken in some way. I'm certain of it. I don't know what it is.
I'm broken because I became a comedian.
Yeah.
I should have just been an accountant. Everything would be fine.
I often think, I remember the first time I made myself laugh.
Yeah.
Like legit made myself giggle. I was always funny, I think.
Yeah.
And I could always say funny things, and they would always surprise me that I was like, whoa, where did that come from?
Right.
But I remember... Squirrels, you hear that?
That's squirrels?
Yeah, they're running on my roof.
They sound heavy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I remember the first time I made myself laugh, I was walking out of an English class. I think I had been to Russia already, and I had discovered that I met the state over in Greece.
Oh wow.
And I decided at that moment I was funny with the mafia, I was funny with everyone that I met backpacking through Europe. And I was like, I bet I could be a comedian. I could make people laugh.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so what like when you do a comedian, you just get on stage, and how do you do that? You got to think of the thoughts first. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting in an English class, and we were supposed to be writing a story, and I was like, I think I'm going to try to write a funny story. Mm-hmm. And I wrote a story that made me laugh. And I remember walking to my car by the bookstore over near the Tridelt house and over on that street. And I'm sure it's moved by now, but I remember making myself laugh out loud about ideas. And I went, fuck, I like that a lot. I go, why wouldn't I live a life where I could make myself laugh? I remember asking other people, can you make yourself laugh? And they're like, what?
Really?
Yeah, I remember like,
oh God, I make myself laugh all the time.
Oh yeah, but I would always say this is generational, but I'm older than you. I'm 46, mm-hmm. and for guys, there was a real sincere weakness in anything artistic or anything creative. For guys that I knew, it was about being a bro.
Even being funny, because I feel like being funny always felt male.
You could be funny. You could be funny mm-hmm. with the group, but if you said you were funny or you said you wanted to be a comedian, they'd shut you down.
Okay,
hey, bro,
to then do
you're not
show.
fucking. We're all fucking funny. You're not funny.
Right.
To say I want to stand out, I want to be a comedian was not allowed. However, when we had like some sort of event, they go, Bert, get on stage and make everyone laugh. And I'd go up, and I mean, my go-to, I'd always bring a guitar with me, and my go-to was the lead singer of the B-52s singing Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. Jane Says.
I didn't know you were a guitar. Are you a guitar comic at a time?
I was a guitar. Do you like how I'm just morphed this into a conversation about me? This is my podcast. This is exactly what I fucking do.
You can do whatever you want. I did notice, but you know, I don't know how you like it to work.
I would rather it be. I like podcasts that are a conversation. Anything too interviewee, which we'll get to, because I do want to talk about your podcast. Yeah. I do want to talk about your childhood, but I took a guitar with me on stage one time as a professional comedian, meaning like I'd done an open mic, and then the next time I brought a guitar on, that guitar right there, it's got a sticker. If you see it, it's got an old New York subway sticker on it. So I brought it on stage. I put it up at the Boston Comedy Club, up against the fireplace or the mantle, and I started doing my jokes. And all anyone did was stare at the guitar. I remember the whole room.
Once it's there, we can't wait till you pick it up.
Yeah, it's like a chick not wearing a bra on stage, which I mentioned last night and I feel bad about.
What? Someone wasn't wearing a bra and you
I said, well, why don't you just talk about not wearing a bra? Because that's all I'm looking at. Like, and then I think she was offended, and I was like, yeah, but there is a format to how this works. Like, if you can see my dick through my pants, people will be looking at my dick.
Right.
Like, it's hard to look past.
Listen, I mean, and sometimes I feel like am I just getting old, because I was interviewing someone for a job like on our staff, and she came not wearing a bra, and then after she left, we like looked at each other and we're just like, you gotta wear a bra to an interview. And listen, I have small tits. I love not wearing a bra.
Yeah.
When I perform, I always do, but like, unless it's like a bodysuit, but like, you have to look in the mirror and be like, is this at a point distracting? I just feel like I don't have to wear a bra a lot, because if God wanted me to wear a bra, he should have given me bigger tits. Yeah. Like, it's just rude, and they're not going to hang. They're not going anywhere. At a certain point, like, it's irritating. But yeah, I mean, we're humans,
yeah.
And it doesn't make you like a part of the Me Too movement to look at someone's tits. I look at people's tits and butts all the time, and I'm like pretty straight.
It's part of the fact. It's like, I remember a comic, I won't say her name, said she did a post on Instagram and she wasn't wearing a bra on it, and she did a post on Instagram and her numbers went through the roof. I said, your numbers went through the roof because you weren't wearing a bra. She was like, what? I said, that's why I watched it a couple times. I noticed that you weren't wearing a bra.
Checked it out a couple times.
I go, I actually don't know what you said in the post. Right. All I know is that you clearly weren't wearing a bra. I said, that's what sells. And she was like, huh?
Wait, is this a famous comic? Because I think I know exactly the post you're talking about. And I in my mind, I'm going, she's got to know. She's got to know what she's doing.
Yeah. I think, let's change the subject so that person doesn't know we're talking about them. But yeah, like, clearly, like, there's a part of that works, you know? Right. Like,
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah. I don't even know what it said.
I do, but yeah, I'm a girl, though.
But yeah, the guitar was like not wearing a bra on stage. And that's all anyone looked at. And I was like, oh, they're not listening to me. They're looking at the guitar. Right. Pulled the guitar up. And by the time I brought the guitar up, they were so ready for the guitar that they were let down. And so I had bombed. It's the hardest I've ever bombed in my life. It was, but it was because I was new and I had no way to get out of it. And sometimes now you can blame it on a bunch of other factors, but it was just definite bombing. It's my third time on stage. And I got in the car and my cousin and my sister wouldn't look at me. They were so embarrassed.
Oh,
it was that bad. And they, instead of looking at me, they peeled off that sticker in the cab and put it on my guitar case. And they just kind of occupied themselves. And I was like, I've never taken that guitar on stage ever fucking again.
Oh my God. For me, it's like I'm more comfortable bombing than watching someone I love bomb. I'd rather bomb every time.
I don't mind a good bomb.
Me too. I find like it's a skill, and like the first time I was able to bomb and like enjoy it, I was like, you've reached a new level in your career because you're comfortable bombing. Now I think it's like funny, and like I'll just continue digging the ditch because most times when I'm bombing, I have a problem. Like I get angry at the audience, and there's a fine line between like, cause who I am is kind of an angry comic, but it's like it's not, when I get too angry, then it becomes not fun for anyone. So it's like a very fine line between funny and like everyone's scared and no one's gonna laugh anymore.
I've lost it on audiences.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's funny, especially because of your on stage persona. Like you're so fun, and
it was when I was younger and I was trying to be edgy, and if a joke didn't work, I'd just go, oh, come on, lighten up. Like in my head, I'd be like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I remember I had a joke. There was a bunch of Swedish people in the audience. That was the number one problem right there. Is the English wasn't their first language, but they were all blonde hair, blue eyes. There was like 10 of them, blonde hair, blue eyes. And I said, I made a comment. The joke was, and it's interesting too, because now I'm almost defensive of these types of jokes, because I go, if someone, as a comic, I go, if someone bought tickets to come see me, I don't want them to feel shitty. I don't want them to leave feeling shitty.
No.
Yeah, but the joke was, how confusing do you think Asian Facebook is? Like trying to tag yourself in a photo, like, is that me? No, that's not me. Is that my mom? And they didn't laugh.
Right.
And I said, and I go, oh, it's just a joke. And they're like, it's not right. And I went, what do you mean it's not right? And they go, not all Asian people look alike. I said, well, no, you're right, but they all have the same color hair. It's like, with all you blonde people, I'm sure I get Sven and Jorge or George or whatever mixed up. And they're like, we don't have the same color hair. I go, you definitely have the same. And that's where I go.
Yeah.
That's where I spiraled out hard as fuck. Because I was like, no, now you're arguing to argue. And you're going to be right because I'm on stage and I'm being defensive. And I was like, you have identically the same color hair, and you both have blue eyes. Yeah. I go, hold on 1 second. All we're saying is, and I'm defending it's just a joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we all like you can digest it, but they also like if you just come ready to like get upset about anything, and there is also a thing that I noticed where I think people from other countries come with that same like the way there's like a coastal elitism. There's also an elitism from countries that aren't America, because even though we think we're the bomb, like they think we're very uncultured. We don't travel. Which is parts of those are very true.
Very true.
And so with things like race or culture jokes, and they know like the we have such a racism problem in this country, they just like really like are kind of like repulsed by it.
Wait, where did you grow up?
I'm from New Jersey, but I've lived in Manhattan for like 15 years now.
Really? So wait, when did you move to Manhattan? Like
when I was 17. Yeah, because I went to college. I moved there for college. I have a late birthday, and then I just never left.
Where did you go to college?
SVA, School of Visual Arts.
Oh, really?
I have a BFA in film directing. Yeah.
It's a BFA,
Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Oh, yeah. Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Yeah, it's.
I don't even know what I have from college.
Yeah, well, because most people have a BA if you went to a 4-year school, and I BFA is just like, yeah, I'm like cool. I'm like chic.
So you moved to New York at 17? Mm-hmm. How fucking scary is that?
It was scary, but I mean, coming from New Jersey, it was a little less scary because I had been there so many times to see like concerts or Broadway shows with my parents, and my parents were very into the arts.
Really?
And like not in a hippie dippy Lena Dunham parent kind of way, but just in a like we loved celebrities. It was not looked down upon. It was looked up upon. It was my mom's like a huge country music fan, had been like a big Emmylou Harris fan, would like write her letters and go to her concert. Like they're friends now.
Really?
Yeah. My family's really good at stalk. Like one of my first things I did was a 1-woman show on stalking, but it's because my family is so fucking good at stalking that we get people to be our friends. Cause like I guess we play it smart enough that it doesn't seem creepy. And then now I have your phone number. Like I did it to my favorite singer too. I just stalked him until we're friends now. So
who's your favorite singer?
My favorite singer is Dan Byrne.
Who's Dan Byrne?
He's like he's a folk singer. He's kind of like in the like Ani DeFranco family.
By the way, I went through a huge Ani DeFranco stage.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Ani DeFranco.
You might like Dan Byrne. Like it's my goal in life to get everyone listening to Dan Byrne.
I've always been turned on by aggressive feminist chicks.
Okay.
Leaning lesbian.
Okay.
Like, that's always been my
hell yeah,
my comfort zone of like artistically what I like. One of my favorite comics across the board is Janine Garofalo.
Oh my God. I watched her the 30-minute the HBO, I guess, where she's wearing the white t-shirt, the black, and I hadn't seen that in so long. And then we interviewed her on Guys We Fucked, and I went back and watched that, and I go, holy shit, Corinne, like this is where you were, because I always was like, what comic really inspired me? And I go, it was this was in your fucking back of your mind the whole time from when you were like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I just always remember, I always think about the line where she's walking through the parking lot and some father and son, and the father's like ogling some like hot blonde, and she's like, oh, just ogle me, thinks outside of the box. And I'm just like, that's exactly my entire fucking mindset. Yeah. I don't think of myself as less attractive. I'm like, just fucking be more interesting with who you want to fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is it. And I mean, God, how many times have I worn like tights under shorts? Everyone had that. That's Sarah Silverman too, though.
No, that was Janine.
Janine first, yeah.
I had one of my favorite Janine moments. I've had a crush on her since I ever saw her. Probably in Reality Bites Back was the first thing I saw her in. Mm-hmm. And I was like, who's that chick?
Yeah.
Like, there's just something cool about her. Like you want to take a bong rip and chill and get her to show you about her favorite movies, and you listen, and like, I don't know. That's the cool thing about like, I always dated bimbos too. And so like,
really? Why?
Yeah, because it's visually what I was attracted to.
Okay.
But it didn't stimulate me creatively. And then the flip side was the Janines. I'd argue my wife's a mix between, she kind of looks a little bit like Janine. Like she's got the sun, wears the glasses and dark hair, fair skinned. But that special was that made me laugh so hard. It's so good, and it really holds up. Because sometimes I watch things back, even like a Kathy Griffin, I'll watch back because I was like, oh, it's so topical. It's still about a celebrity. Will this hold up? And they really did for me. Kathy breaks my heart. Yeah, how so? Because I feel sad for her for where she is right now in life. Yeah, because I was a huge Kathy Griffin fan. Yeah, I mean, for me, like her work ethic, and I also relate to her a lot because she's someone who just like, she's like, things don't come easy to her, but she just worked really hard. And besides like the weird thing with her brother, like other than that, she had a pretty easy or normal, I don't want to say easy, like a regular upbringing. I worked with her in Houston one time. I just loved her. I loved her. I've always gotten a kick out of her. Me too. I like her. She's aggressive. But I think the thing that's bothering me a little bit is like, I don't know, when she doxed those kids, I was like, come on. Wait, what? She asked to those Covington kids to get doxed. Oh. And you're just like, Kathy, like, yeah, come on, that's not, I guess that's who she is, but that's not who I think. It's like, I don't know. I'll tell you what bums me out is that she got I mean, she got run through the ringer with that head picture.
Well, did you actually? Okay, so after that, she went on tour, and
I think I was in Australia when she was coming into Australia, and I saw her banner. I was like, "Fuck yeah, Kathy, get the fuck back out here."
Did you see the show though?
No.
Okay, so I saw the show, and it was 3 hours. I saw it in New York City when it came through, and I had heard the show was going to be like 3 hours, so I was mentally prepared for that. And I'm just like, what the fuck is like this going to be? Is going to be funny. Number one, it was great. I felt like I was there for 90 minutes. Like I really, really did not need to look at my watch one time.
Yeah.
But just, anyway, it was funny, but like hearing the story, I think the general public doesn't know how much the government got involved. I mean, she was being.
I would be curious to know.
She was being investigated on a level that that you would think she was an international spy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was so beyond, and so it's aggravating as an American citizen that our tax dollars are being spent on investigating Kathy Griffin.
Fucking so frustrating to think. From one stupid fucking picture.
Right.
That should have just gotten everyone to go, thumbs down, no heart, no retweet.
Right.
What the fuck, Kathy? And then I'm interested in her comeback to there. It's just like, part of me, I had to unfollow her because I was like, I get it. But I bet what happened is that incident she had probably made her so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And introverted of like, who else is coming after me?
Yeah.
Of like had to go up on the defenses.
It was really scary. And then as a comedian, I mean, we're living in a world where, one tweet can ruin something you've worked a decade for.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine, I mean, what happened to her was just that, a tweet gone wrong, amped up to a legal internet, like a national security level.
I don't think that it shouldn't happen that way. You can't take one picture and then that ruins your life.
Well, and there's other people too who did similar things with Donald Trump. Like there's a Marilyn Manson video.
Marilyn Manson showed me the video the day before the election of.
Oh wait, we're gonna stop right here. You know Marilyn Manson?
Yeah. You mean Brian?
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that, and I would love to talk about anything else.
He's at the store all the time.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so I met him this summer. I paid $500 to go on his tour bus and meet him for 3 minutes, and I would have paid $5,000. And I am still horny about it. Like, I had to put the Polaroid away because I get so horny when I look at it.
Shut up.
Though I fucking love Marilyn Manson so hard.
Really?
Like, oh my God. Yeah. I was on a plane when the tickets went on sale, and my best friend, like, I got off the plane and I have all these text messages. She's like, Marilyn Manson's going to be in New Jersey and he's doing a meet and greet and it's $500. I already got us the tickets. So even if you don't want to go, we're going.
Oh,
like, of course I want to go.
What if I have his number?
Of course I want to go.
I met him with Stanhope. Stanhope's really good friends with him.
Oh my God. I mean, we had a great, I made him laugh. That I felt like I was very proud of myself.
I'm going to see if I got his number.
Holy.
Tell him to come down to the store tonight.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm dating someone who knows him. It was at his birthday party. So we can make this all come together. Oh God.
I don't have his number. He was at the End of the World podcast we did.
God, it's so fascinating to me who knows who and like what celebrities love comedy. Because like Justin Bieber,
Marilyn Manson's a big comedy fan.
He has a really good sense of humor, I could tell. And he has that outcast mentality, always has. Yeah. So I mean that just fits into.
He showed me the video in the whatchamacallit of him murdering Trump.
Right, yeah.
And then I think Snoop Dogg, or there was a rapper who had a video of him murdering Trump. It's amazing that they got passes. Or maybe maybe it's one of those things that no one gives a fuck. They go, that's what Marilyn Manson does.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know that Trump is going to go pick a fight with Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, that's a tough fight.
I mean, I think. Yeah.
I guess he looked at Kathy Griffin. He's like, this is a fight I think I could win.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what you do when you're a bully. So it's like, I'm a weirdo too, but the reason I never got bullied in high school was literally like the first time someone tried to do it, I go, okay. And then they go, oh, this isn't fun. And also this girl might put a hex on me with her eyes. Yeah. So that's what you do. You just be really weird.
I would be curious to see Kathy do stand up and I hear about that experience. Mm-hmm. I just online, I there's so much. It's online has gotten so polarizing.
Well, the thing is, it's difficult too because like you kind of get shit if you are not socially or politically involved because it's such a tumultuous time in the country. But then it's very hard to be running an account where you're trying to be funny and then also sometimes want to post about like voting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I go through obviously like on a Kathy Griffin level, but like just to be a fucking asshole, started marking things like asterisk serious post, asterisk joke.
Oh, really?
Just to be a fucking asshole because I'm like, you guys, like, you know when I'm fucking joking. I made a joke about Jordan Woods, who was the girl who like hooked up with Tristan Thompson, who is Khloe Kardashian's baby daddy. Again, like, you're looking at me like I'm talking a different language, and that's how everyone should look at me. But I just like, it's just a joke I made. There's a running gag on like Guys We Fucked that if people disrespect me, I'm gonna fuck their boyfriends. And so I just made a joke about that because I really spiraled one day and people were being very rude, and I was like, I'm gonna give them people yeast infections because, you know, dicks can carry that. Like, I'm gonna stalk you, I'm gonna fly to the town you're in because I have too much money for the amount of family I have, which is none, and I'm gonna fuck your boyfriend. And then so it just became a running thing. And I like posted a picture of Jordan Woods, and I was like, you know, the face you make when you fuck someone's boyfriend and you end up fucking yourself. Like, I didn't even think it was that. It was like literally just a throwaway comment. Didn't even think people were either dying laughing like it was the funniest thing anyone's ever said, or like savage, and like because I tagged her in it, I'm like, this woman has like million plus followers, and also it's clearly a joke.
Yeah,
like, you're a slut shaming, you're the face of anti-slut shaming, and I'm like, number one, slut shaming, like cheating and being a slut are different things, because people try to use like being immoral and being a slut interchangeably, and that's the whole fucking problem. They are not. Like, you can be a slut, you can separately, you can be immoral separately, or you can be an immoral slut. But just because you're a slut doesn't make you immoral. And like, so you shouldn't be cheating, you shouldn't be hooking up with people's boyfriends or baby daddies or whatever, you know, if they're previously taken. I mean, he's a garbage bag too, but
I wish I would knew more about those people. So
I was like, we have to call on your kids.
They would know. It's tough. It's tough because when you guys started the podcast, did you start it as the anti-slut shaming podcast?
Yeah, it was always Guys We Fucked, the anti-slut shaming podcast. So I mean, it was interviewing. It was so that we could broaden the conversation beyond just our lives, especially because we're complete unknowns going into it. So no one cares. But it turned into more like a Laguna Beach storyline, where the intro is like this audio reality show that you're following. So even though no one knew who the fuck Christine and I were at the time, they just became invested because we were airing so much dirty laundry. I think
it's brilliant. The vulnerability and honesty in podcasting is the number one thing that gets people listening, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a real savior in a time when, I mean, it goes back and forth, but I still feel like, okay, well, at least I have this platform that Christine and I kind of run on our own, where if all else fails, if no network would hire me because of my mouth, like, at least I still have this. But then you still have to maintain the fans, and fans have so much power these days because networks are willing to like kick people off TV shows because of a tweet. And I think that's so dangerous when like the network or the corporation is not on the side of the artist, especially when you're working with comedians. Like Kathy Griffin got fired from
the New Year's Eve thing.
Well, that too. And but before that, from the fucking toilet, what is it called? A Squatty Potty. So it's like I will tell you, I fucking hate Squatty Potty because they also fired us. So fuck them, fuck you. But I hope they're not your.
No. We're a big Squatty Potty family over here, but
yeah, I mean, the product is fine, but it's just like, you hired Kathy Griffin and then you're gonna turn your back on her immediately. Like, they take themselves very seriously for like a unicorn rainbow shitting product. I'm like, it's a stool to take a shit on.
And by the way, I don't know why we just don't make toilets lower.
I don't know.
Like, I love a good low toilet.
Yeah.
We've been just on the tour bus. We can't shit on the tour bus, so you shit in public.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, I thought they empty it. Okay.
Big no. And so we shit in hotels or in restaurants, wherever or venues.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things in the world is when you see a low toilet, like a low, like, because the high ones, I can't shit on high ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm literally like, I feel like my butt cheeks are together. I feel like I'm riding a horse.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just to reiterate, I don't support everyone walking away from Kathy Griffin when that photo came out. I don't support that.
And even in the show, she said even Al Franken did, which karma came back to bite him in the ass.
I mean, I just think things have gotten fucking out of hand. Like, what bothered me the most is like, I believe in justice. I believe in like the old an eye for an eye. And I believe in that a little bit, but that's not what's happening. It's like Kathy maybe like kicked you in the toe and we cut off her head.
Right.
And you're like, okay, now you don't get to work anymore. Half of them. By the way, you only need like 100,000 people to like you. You don't need the whole country. Just 100,000 people, you can make a lot
100% right.
Like you know what I mean?
I think that's exactly how many people like me, and I'm barely hanging on.
I got 100,000
right on the edge. 99.4 guys. If anyone likes me,
we can do exact numbers. I think you only need 74,000 people to be honest. You can make a nice $3 million a year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at 20K, I feel like you can start like advertising a lipstick or something on Instagram. So you just do what you need to do.
I think that's what. But what to go back to what you were saying is what drew me into you guys was and I didn't place it as Laguna Beach, but just the honesty and vulnerability. Yeah. And did you guys know each other when you first started?
Yeah, we had already been working together for like 3 or 4 years as a comedy duo called Sorry About Last Night, which is like why our Twitter handle and Instagram and stuff is Sorry About Last Night. We were just working locally, and we had kind of like we wanted to like brand it. We wanted to do comedy that had a purpose, but like not heavy-handed. Like we were really hiding any kind of like message or just like nods to feminism under like true humor, not trying to force feed people some TED Talk with an occasional laugh in it.
Jesus Christ, I've seen those specials.
Well, yes, we all have. And I mean, and it also resets. And then, people who listen to the podcast sometimes think that that's exactly the kind of comedy special we're going to like. And I'm like, oh, you don't understand. I don't know.
Before I met you guys, Ari Shafir had hit me up about you guys.
Really? It's so funny because we don't talk that much.
You wrote an article, I guess, one time. I don't know about some Brooklyn. I don't know.
Okay, I think I know what he's like. A Brooklyn comedy festival that I refused to do the show because they tried to send me an email saying that I couldn't talk about my own body in my set. I believe that's what it was, a Facebook post. And I love that he referred to it as an article though. It was an article.
Yeah. No, but
it was in the Times.
And then I kind of got into you guys, and I was like, fuck yeah, because here's my thing about my brain, and I hope everyone listening welcomes this in their own brains. I'm not right. I am not one thought I have is right. I need to explore every side of everything to figure out when I'm going to be right. I can't just go in and go, this is my idea. There we go. I'm done. Like anything. The fucking Covington kid's a perfect example. I wanted to fucking light that kid up when I saw that because I was that kid at one point. The kid that was arrogant to the Indian guy. I was that kid. And then I found out that that's not what happened. The Indian guy bum rushed him, got in his fucking face, and he was and then I was that kid also. I was also that kid where I didn't know how to behave. Yeah. And then I go, wait, I'm so glad I never said a fucking word about that. Because I went from 2 ranging emotions of someone of privilege disrespecting someone standing up for his own rights to someone who's a fucking lunatic. Apparently the Indian guy wasn't even in Vietnam. Right. Yeah, and to attacking a child, and then I was like, motherfucker. So when I found y'all's podcast, I had legit problems with sluts. Legit.
I love that. I just want that as a clip. I have legit problems with sluts. That's gonna be my new ringtone, Bert.
Please let it. And because I had been cheated on, and I think
that's super common. Yeah.
And so I think, and then I backed off of women altogether and was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm just going to date dudes. No, I'm kidding. No, I backed off.
I didn't even believe that part for a second.
I backed off women altogether. When I started comedy, I said, I'm not getting involved with anyone. And that's when Sex and the City came out. And then I saw an empowerment of female sexuality. Yeah. And I was like, and it kind of spooked me because the only connection I had with that was sluts, women that wanted to fuck often if they were your girlfriend, will want to fuck other dudes also. And so that was a slut in my head. And then I see women wanting to fuck and not be in relationships. And I was like, nah. I mean, it almost fucked up my relationship with my wife.
Really?
Really bad. Because I would have her come in and tell you the story if I could get her easily. I met her at a bowling alley. I had seen her a couple times. I thought she was cute.
Yeah.
And I hit on her. She was kind of a bitch. I like bitches. And then we went to a yoga class together. Not together, but with our friends. We all ended up at a yoga class together. Okay. And I was making her laugh. I guess I was sweating a lot, and she she thought I was funny. And then we all went bowling roughly like maybe a week later, couple weeks later. And she came up to me and said, you should get my number. We should go out sometime. I was like, yeah. And my brain just went, slut. Cool, slut. And I was like, stay the fuck away from her. She fucks a lot.
Just because she initiated?
She initiated it. So I was like, not talking to her. And so I was like, I'm going to wait till I find the girl that I've got to, I was like, it's too bad. I really liked her. I thought she was different. And so I go home and I'm, fucking around. Maybe 2 days later, she calls my roommate and she goes, how come your roommate never asked me out? And I just walked in from spin class. And he goes, I don't know. He's right here. Why don't I ask him? He goes, hey, this is that girl Leanne on the phone. He was my roommate. I was friends with her. He's like, she wondered why you never asked her out. And I was like this. And he was like, come here, talk to her. And I was like, ugh. And I got on the phone. I was like, hey, what's up? She's like, hey, you never called me. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I've just been super busy. I wasn't busy.
Right.
And she was like, well, if you ask me to go out, I'll go out with you. And I was like, all right, do you want to go out? Like, not wanting to do this at all.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't into that type of woman. Because those types of women in my head were the kind that fucked you and then fucked everyone else and then you got hurt. That's the way my brain worked. So then I go out on a date with her and she's cool. And I tell her at some point, I'm not going to just have sex with you. She was like, I'm sorry. Who the fuck do you think I am?
Right.
And I was like, you're a slut, right? And she was like,
you said you.
Are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, wait, right? And she was like, no, I want to go out with you and hang out. And I thought you'd be like, and we kind of.
I would also love the woman who goes, oh yes, you're right, I am a slut.
Yeah. And I found out who my wife was dating her. I was like, oh, this woman's not like that at all. Changed the game on the way I perceived women. And I was like, fuck, man, I got so fucking burned by chicks. And then Sex and the City came out that I was like, so then when I started listening to you guys, I was like, it's still hard for me to wrap my head around because I've only had sex with like 6 people, women. I don't know why I say people, but so
keep it open.
Yeah, 6 women. So like I was very anti promiscuity, but only because I knew that it would fuck you over. I had so many chicks cheat on me growing up. Probably all 6.
Okay.
Or 5, and so hopefully. But that's when I found you guys, and I think we had a conversation about that on your podcast. It was me having a conversation with my daughter about slut shaming.
Yeah. Well, I remember that because I'm always because even today you still see like the notion of like fathers being like, I'm gonna follow you with a shotgun, or no dating until you're 35, and that's just so damaging to say to young women.
It really is, and I've been very cognizant to be like, put yourself out there.
Yeah, I think the key, just like it's like for parenting. If I was a parent, I would just to really separate like slut. I mean, like the word has such a negative connotation, but like being
such a great fucking word.
It is such a great word. Like
we used to call ourselves sluts in college.
It's a great word.
What's up, sluts?
Know. Yeah,
it's such a great fucking
it's fun.
word.
It feels good. I feel like it hits all those like Gary Goldman tips he's been giving out on Twitter, like slut. Like yes, whore is also good too, but you got to say it like with like a Andrew Dice Clay, like a whore. Yeah. But yeah, just to separate that from like being immoral, because you can still easily be immoral, and like there's some like slut mentality where it's like treating men like shit, and like that's what you're talking about, but like that's not the kind of slut I am.
I think I always confused amoral with an amoral slut with a slut. No, but hang on. Now I'm fucking it up because
it's just like you can. I have my morals are very strong, and I'm very like I've never cheated on anybody, that kind of thing. But like I've fucked a lot of dudes.
How many?
I mean, I have never given out a number just because people will be like, oh, the podcast is ending. But I mean, like ballpark. I mean, not crazy. Like
ballpark. If you had to ballpark it in size.
In the 30s, I would say.
Really?
That's not
a lot.
That's not, I mean, and it's not a lot. Because I remember even watching Sex and the City, and like there was an episode where they all make lists, and like most people were coming out like 47 people. And at the time I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you live in New York long enough, and I don't really have a lot of one night stands. A lot of it was just like fucking, you know, comedians that I would know on the side. I fucked a lot of comedians. I always say like my pussy could book a very subpar open mic. So never anyone that could help me, I'll tell you that. I've never fucked anyone that could help me, but you know, whatever.
But I think, you know what I think so important about what you guys do is that people need to hear all voices. Like when you talk about anti-slut shaming, it's I remember the first time I heard that term, it was like Amber Rose, I guess, did the slut walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh?
She didn't even start this. The slut walk was already a thing, but like Amber Rose's slut walk was what kind of like made it super famous.
What was the slut walk?
There was already a slut walk that non-celebrities had started, and so like when you say like Amber, it is called officially like Amber Rose's slut walk.
It is.
Yeah, and I love her because she's so.
Is Amber Rose black?
No.
She uses the N word pretty freely.
She uses the N word?
Yeah. She did in a. Wait, I might be fucking this up.
I was like, that.
I might thinking of a Black China.
Yeah, I was like, that just doesn't seem to me. I mean, I'm not, I don't know everything Amber Rose ever said, but she's very like progressive. I would say even more like left leaning than I am. So I feel like that she just wouldn't say that, but she does hang out with
a lot of black guys.
Yeah, well, and she she was we first kind of met her when she was dating Kanye, so she is kind of considered part of black culture, but she's not black.
What was the Amber Rose tweet? She used the. Oh, it was the. I guess. Oh yeah. She used it. She used it in a couple tweets.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, but
like recently or
in I don't know. This is the Kanye stuff because I remember
right.
She used the N word in the Kanye tweets, and I was like,
well, because like the popular one was like finger in the booty ass bitch.
Yeah, finger in the booty ass bitch.
Right.
I was the first time I heard you got bodied. Yeah.
It keeps everyone on their toes.
You got bodied by a stripper N word. Is what she said.
Okay.
Irish, Italian, Cape Verdean, African, and Scottish.
She's gorgeous.
She is. I gotta say, there's 3 women, famous women that I've seen.
Wait, have you had her on your podcast?
Yeah, I've been to her house, and I've been on her podcast with Christina. Yeah.
She's gorgeous. Keep going.
She's one of the most breathtaking. There's 3 people who I've met who are famous who are truly took my breath away, and she was one of them. And I mean, I'm telling you, she like greeted us like she had just worked out, no makeup, nothing. I mean, she didn't barely has hair. Like just even her feet were beautiful. Like just everything about her was just like the most exquisite.
She's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Like gorgeous.
And cool as shit and really confident. Like just, I've
never even heard her speak.
We really hadn't either. So we're walking in and like, of course we're coming at this from an angle in which like we want to show people that like you can be a slut and intelligent and well-spoken, but sometimes it's a real fucking crapshoot, especially and so we're just going and praying.
I fucking love you. I fucking love you.
I mean,
the thing that makes you great is you are just genuinely a comedian first.
Oh,
and and there's an honesty and a bullshit that comedians like. Sometimes if you guys had not been comedians and there was no connection to funny first and then everything second, it would be exhausting. But what makes your show great is that it's 2 comics first, and then we talk about what we're talking about. But keep going. I'm sorry.
No, but that's the thing, because like feminism is really missing a sense of humor, and still like we constantly have to remind people that we're comedians because people will get really upset about stuff, and I'm just like, it's a fucking joke. We're trying to make, but yeah. So she's just so gorgeous, and I don't even know.
Is she married to Wiz Khalifa?
No, she has a child with Wiz Khalifa, but that is like a love, like one of, I think she like considers him like still a love, but they separated.
And so she, what is she? She has a podcast.
She has a podcast with.
How did she become famous?
She model.
Oh, yeah?
Model, then dated Kanye. And then, I mean, just as far as like, she's one of the best fucking hustlers I know. Just like knowing, like seizing the day, seeing that like I have potential. I mean, doesn't, again, hurt that she's breathtakingly gorgeous.
Tall?
Yeah, she's pretty tall. Yeah. I mean, everyone's tall in comparison to me. I'm 5'3.5", but yeah, she's tall. And she did, so she did the slut walk. She created a slut box, which is kind of like FabFitFun, but for whores. I love it. I get it. And it's great because it says slut box on it. So like to have your doorman be like, Miss Fisher, and just hand you a slut box. Like it's worth the
slut box.
The money alone. I
love that.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
Yeah. So you just like get lube.
I want to come up with a Jack box.
Yeah, you should.
Jack box. Bert Kreischer's Jackbox. Hey guys, these are all the new toys that are out.
You should do it for sure. I mean, or just something like just things to gain weight and get.
It's going to be hard to beat someone's hand. It's just so good in a moment.
Yeah,
but keep going. So Slutbox.
Yeah, and then so she has a podcast with Dr. Chris Donahue, who is
sounds beautiful.
He's very hot, man.
Of course.
Yeah, and he's a sex therapist, and I love him. He's one of the few people who I always tell him anytime I have a conversation with him, I leave feeling better about life. And really? I mean that's a tall order. So he has a book called like, what is it, Sex Between the Lines or something, and he just thinks about sexuality and relationships from a very
I thought it was about sex with football players.
No.
Sex between the lines.
Yeah, it's when they stop and they fuck as they're running for a touchdown. Did I get football right? I really I winged it. Okay.
How great is it to not care about football?
Yeah. I'm so bored by football that I did my own Instagram live halftime show for the duration of the football game. I got drunk. I baton twirled for people. They really liked it.
So wait, who else have you had on your podcast that kind of blew you away? You're like, shut the fuck up. What's happening to us?
I mean, my all-time favorite, who is now my personal Jesus, is John Ronson, the author.
Who's that? Oh, so you've been shamed.
So you've been publicly shamed, which I wanted to bring up because and I mean, I bring this book up so much. And again, like this is someone who I've just talked so much that now we're friends. Hi, John. And, but he has a wife. I have to be respectful. Yeah. But that book, everyone needs to read, especially comedians, because at a certain point, everyone is going to have something where they get attacked for a joke, a tweet, whatever it is. And it's really the toolkit you need to not fucking lose your mind.
Well, give everyone because I read the book, but I can't remember it really. I remember, like, I'm good. I'll read a book, but then I just go, and then like I guess what I find important is what sticks in my head.
Sure.
And the one thing that I found important was the girl that sent out the tweet about Africa.
Yeah, she was a publicist. Yeah. And I mean, and she just like sends this throwaway tweet, like going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS. Like not funny, but also does not need to end your career. And she like barely had any followers, but somehow, all it takes is one person to see it and then light it up. And then she gets off an airplane. And so she gets on the airplane, gets off the airplane, and basically like her life is different because of this tweet, because it was considered, insensitive. And again, like not great, but just delete it and move on. Yeah. I also don't know why like publicists even have their own private social media, because that's just me just asking for trouble.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of thoughts. That one fucked me up though, because I was like, because I read it and I was like, this is Justine. I forget her name.
Right.
I don't want to even say it because I don't want to. I know that she doesn't want to be connected to it ever again.
Sacco, I believe.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, sorry. I mean, everyone knows.
It's she's got to live with it. But that was at the beginning of when this was happening too. Mm-hmm. Now there's almost like a little bit of like you feel like Jussie Smollett's going to be okay. Like the Jussie Smollett thing comes out and you're like, well, you know what? We forgive a lot faster than we used to back in the Justine Sacco days.
It depends, because we do and we don't. I mean, he's also coming from like, I mean, I don't know. He's just coming from a lot of different, because it's like, the black community is angry, the LGBTQ community is angry. He fucked over those Nigerian guys big time. I mean, I would be the most angry if I'm
those
them.
Nigerian guys need a fucking reality show.
I mean, they could have been killed.
Did you see the video of them combing their hair together?
No, I missed that one.
I was fucking like,
glad you had time to watch that.
I was like, it's all I've been doing is watching. What I think what outraged me out of the whole Jussie Smollett thing was that he was willing to finger any two white guys that they brought to him. Mm-hmm. That's where.
Well, and then everyone else, and it's this thing kind of we were talking about with the Covington. Is that because everyone's so thirsty for the story, and everyone's so thirsty for the bad guy to be the guy that we want it to be.
Yes,
and we see that a lot in feminism. So like when me and Christina were writing our book, of course there was an angle that I wanted to be true, but I was like, I'm gonna actually research this because this is what people aren't doing, and I'm so lucky that my best friend is getting his PhD in sexual psychology. So I had access to all these academic papers online from the college that if he wasn't in school, I wouldn't have had. So I read all these studies and stuff, kind of mostly one of the things I was concentrating on was like sex work, because it's like, as a woman with a body who likes to use it sexually a lot, of course I want to say that sex work is not damaging, but you know, I've talked to a lot of people. There are a lot of organizations for, you know, porn stars getting out of porn. And I just really think, and then there's people like Tina Fey or Lena Dunham who are very anti-sex work, even though they've never been sex workers. And so I just didn't know what to say. But I'm like, for me, at the end of the day, like, I love a statistic. Give me a statistic. Yeah. But like one from a college paper, not one from like RAINN.org. RAINN, I love RAINN.
What's RAINN.org?
RAINN is like a sexual assault prevention organization, and they're phenomenal. But I feel like sometimes people are just, you know, you can find the statistic you need for anything. Like if you go to RAINN.org, you would be like, everyone I know has been raped. And like, listen, a lot of people have been raped, but everyone you know has not been raped. But a lot of people, like more than you think, probably.
Way more. I think the statistics would be.
Yeah, like way more. And so I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, we don't even need to pick and like cherry pick these like cool in our statistics because they're so bad already.
The problem is, and by the way, put a pin in where we're at. So if we want to take any of this out, what we're about to talk about, we can. But the problem is, I agree with you. I think way more people have been raped than we know of. I think,
and certainly sexually assaulted.
Certainly sexually assaulted.
Men and women.
But I think what happens is when they blow up statistics like that and make it feel like, I remember hearing Jamie Kilstein a long time ago, back when he was super woke, on Rogan saying like 1 in every 3 women have been raped, and they were like, that just seems really high statistics. Right. I think then that almost encourages a mentality of what happened to Aziz, where the girl goes, I was sexually assaulted, and you're like, by the way, hold on, which one did me and when I did your podcast, we got done, and we're like, I think it was right when all the sexual assault stuff started happening, the Me Too started happening,
right?
And we're like, hey, you know who's next, right?
I think that was TJ Miller.
No, was it?
No, that's who I think it was, because I had been tipped off by another comedian.
Oh, then that's not who I'm thinking of.
Oh.
But anyway, I think that's what happens is it makes it go like, I wish I was better at analogies. If they say if they say a percentage of Audi 5000s are taking off and driving into a fucking wall. Okay. And one night you get drunk in your Audi 5000 and you hit a wall, then your go-to might be, hey, that's what happens to these Audi 5000s. Does that make sense?
I see where you're going. That's not even how I interpret that. For me, it wasn't like someone was like, did something that they regretted and made up a story, which is, I think, the common thing that society...
I don't think that happened with Aziz.
No, I think it's more like, it's almost like women have kind of been told instead of telling ourselves for so long, and now we are being encouraged so enthusiastically to stand up for ourselves that we're questioning everything in our lives and going back to be like, was that okay? Yeah. And so it's almost like making up for all this time that we weren't defending ourselves, and perhaps sometimes over defending. That's how I interpret it.
That's what I meant to say.
And because it's less malicious, because I don't think
it's less malicious. I think she was I think she was super unhappy
and uncomfortable. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and I also do take into account, like, even though Aziz is like physically pretty small, because I know people were like, well, she could have fight, like, yeah, I could fight Aziz, but there's still, celebrity has power, you know? And I try my hardest not to, but I mean, if Marilyn Manson walked in right now, I would act a little weird, you know?
Yeah, I've allowed celebrities' liberties with me that I wouldn't ever allow a regular person.
Like touching or saying or
slapping me as a joke.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Some guy did that was famous, and everyone laughed, and it hurt, and it bothered me, and I'll never forget it, and I'm fucking
right.
But had a regular guy do that, I would have fought him. But it was a celebrity, and everyone was there, and everyone laughed, or it made things uncomfortable, and I was like, but that happened to me, so I understand what you're saying, the power of celebrity. Yeah,
it's just weird. We act differently. And like, at a certain point, you keep not telling celebrities no, and they just do whatever the fuck they want. And then also because you never tell celebrities no, and like celebrities, even though they are critiqued by the masses, are not critiqued by like the people in their circle, I think their behavior actually becomes kind of abnormal. Yeah. So like I can only imagine how Aziz acts on a date. Like if he hasn't been, he's been known for so long that you actually behave in a way that is not like a normal way to go on a date with someone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wish any ill will or any career damage to Aziz, but I will say when that happened, there were a lot of guys, comics, myself included, who communicated internally going, he was a dick. He was a dick, man.
Oh, that's the thing.
He was a dick.
Yep.
And he wasn't nice to anybody.
That's why Harvey Weinstein went down so fast, because I'm like, listen, I had worked as an assistant for a long time, not at Weinstein, but another New York-based, entertainment business things. And it was, as soon as it came out, I'm like, number one, I believe it, but also like I've heard from other assistants that I know that he threw staplers in their face. So it's like kind of like, well, if anyone's gonna go,
that's the number one thing is if you're a dick, you get called out pretty quickly. Everyone's like, yeah, let the dick leave. Well, I love what you said. People want it to fit their agenda. That's why this case, the kid suing the New York Post for $250 million. The Covington kid.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe the Washington Post. He's suing the Washington Post. By the way, everything I say, put a fucking footnote in. I don't know facts really good. So if I say something I'm wrong, just know that I meant to say the thing that's right.
Meant to say the right thing, yeah. Me too.
The kid that is suing the Washington Post for $250 million, and if he wins, it'll be fucking insane precedent because what I believe personally, I don't know if I'm getting myself in trouble, but I believe that the people at the Washington Post wanted that kid to be a racist.
Yeah, of course.
They're liberal and they wanted it to fit their agenda. So they didn't really dig in journalistically the way they should have.
Yeah, and we wanted Jussie Smollett to have been attacked because it's like, if he's already been hurt, we wanted it to be too. And I mean...
by the way, the second Jussie Smollett's thing happened, I called bullshit on my tour bus. I go, I'm sorry. What two MAGA white supremacist guys... Watch Empire. They go. Hey, you're the gay guy from Empire, the son, the singer, not the manager, the singer. Your mom just got out of prison because your dad. Oh, it's my favorite show ever. See, the one that got thrown in the trash can in episode 2. Fucking bullshit. I watch Empire.
Yeah,
that's who watches Empire. People who are obsessed with black culture.
Right.
Fucking love hip hop.
Yeah, like black people don't need to watch Empire.
Yeah, there's no one that owns a MAGA hat that could name 2 characters off fucking Empire.
Oh my god.
That is my opinion. But anyway, I apologize. You said, because it is funny that everyone kind of wanted the Jussie Smollett story to be true.
Because we want the right to be all evil and we want the left to be like all pure. I mean, I don't, but I mean, that's why like it's constant, especially with social media, because you can retweet something that's inaccurate so quickly. I mean, this was something I talked about a while ago. There was maybe like a year ago, there was some tweet going around that like all these black girls in like Washington DC were missing and no one cared. And I go, what? This just doesn't seem like they were just abducted all in the same week, And I go,
I love the way you just did your face.
I absolutely believe that we live in a racist country, and I absolutely believe that like white stories are taken care of first. But I go, I don't think anyone's just letting kids go missing at this level in DC.
100 black females.
And everyone's tweeting it and getting angry that I'm not tweeting. And so I just like, and I mean, literally a 5-minute Google, you can tell that like some of these people have been missing for like 5 years, and they just like took all these things and pushed it together and made the timeline super short. And so but
that's a legit story, as I do think there are, I mean, that's a legit story. But the way they're packaging it is what they is fitting the thing they want it to fit.
Exactly. And all these stories, and even with the Covington thing, before I tweeted about it or whatever, I looked it up and I waited 2 days because I just was like, I can tell who's tweeting it. And I also went through a process where I actually asked John Ronson, I was like, who are some people who are not liberal, who aren't crazy?
Yes.
And I followed them.
Give me that fucking list. I can give you them. Because I want, here's what I want. I want the liberals who aren't crazy, and I want the conservatives who aren't crazy.
And I'll keep people on my timeline. I follow Ann Coulter, and like, I want to know. It's like, keep your enemies close if we're just going from like a Godfather mentality.
Yeah.
I don't understand people who want to block everyone who doesn't agree with them, because number one, that's not the world we live in, and number two, like, I want to know what's going on all sides.
Dude, I mean,
if shit goes down.
The thing that's good about that open-mindedness, and by the way, I'm going to hold you to. I'm curious to know that list.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm like looking.
But what's like there's people that I don't agree with politically, but they open my eyes to a brand new way of life that I didn't understand about intersectional racism or intersectional feminism. Those
are two different things.
Maybe I still don't understand about it.
Intersectional feminism is much more used. I don't even know if I've heard the term intersectional
feminism.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't know what that was.
Right.
And then it basically deals with like the Lena Dunham type stuff, right?
Well, I mean, it's just including everyone, because I mean, like, it's basically like white feminism versus intersectional feminism.
That's what I was.
And basically, if you are a feminist who is white, you're gonna at one point, probably several times a day, get called a white feminist. And I've certainly been called it many times. And it's just like constantly keeping in mind that, at a certain point, of course, the things I'm talking about are going to be like white feminists, because I've only lived the life of a white feminist. I mean, side note, I'm a Jew, so they're taking me down, but no one likes to hear that. Because I kept going, guys, the alt-right hates us the most, but whatever, it's not a big deal. And so it's just like keeping in mind that, like, to keep other people's stories and perspectives, and also like including trans women as well.
So funny. I apologize that I'm jumping all over the map.
No, it's fine.
My daughters, we were talking about Nazi Germany yesterday, and they were saying,
lighthearted.
Yeah, tell me about it. And so not the most of our friends, but we have a group of friends that we hang out with, 4 families. We call ourselves the campers. And my daughters were like, wait, if that happened here and they started getting Jewish kids, like, what would, how, and then my one daughter goes, how would they know that our the certain kids, I don't fucking know if I said their names or not, but like, how would they know Lily and Max and
well, Max is in trouble right away.
Yeah. How would they know that they're Jewish? They don't look like, how can they tell they're Jewish? And I was like, hey, wait, that's a good question. And then I was like, wait, I wonder if like, I didn't know you were Jewish until you said that you were Jewish.
And I'm not fully Jewish anyway. I'm also Italian, so they cancel each other
out. I thought you were Italian.
Yeah.
Is Fisher?
Yeah, I mean, Fisher, yeah, that's Jewish,
right?
But it can go either way.
Yeah.
Like, there's black Fishers.
There's black Fishers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jordan Fisher, comedian.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. This story was going fucking nowhere. My daughters were just saying, how would they know? And then that went into a whole thing of me fantasizing about having to take care of all the families and hiding them in my house, and how fucking different that fucking world was when when people were like, that's it, we're getting rid of all the Jews, and people were like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And people compare that to today. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's a fair comparison?
Like, we were getting rid of the Jews, like we're getting rid of...
Like the way of the Mexicans, I guess, technically is what we're doing.
Oh, I mean, that's different because, I guess, like, if we're... Because, I mean, like, that's like we're not allowing them in.
Into
we're
the
not
country, yeah.
Kicking them out or murdering
I think they're trying to kick them out. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, that with immigration, I'm not as well versed in it, so it's a little hard, but I mean, immigration is constantly a problem, and even though ICE didn't always exist, I mean, there's always people like, parts of the American government who are trying to kick out people who did not come in legally.
Yeah.
And I know we're not supposed to say illegal immigrants anymore. I guess we're supposed to be like undocumented immigrants, I believe is the correct. Yeah. Because no human is the legal, Bert.
I wonder what my joke is. I go,
well, can't wait to tweet it out and ruin your career.
Russian, well, it's already out there. Russian forward taught in Russian. Do you have any idea? It's like going to class. It's like sitting at the DMV. I wish I could remember the fucking pacing of it. Mm-hmm. But I think I have a joke about that being an immigrant. You're so fucking smart.
Oh, I mean,
like, but do you read
I'm the dumb one in my family, as my brother reminded me the other day. Well, he's so funny because my brother lives in Los Angeles and we were catching up and he goes, my parents are so strict. Like, that's the one thing about my childhood. It was very strict and we were held to impossible standards. And so my main thing in life is like, I get disappointed really easily because like my standards are for myself and for others are fucking impossible. Yeah. And I mean, we lived in a house where if you brought home an A-, like you'd be treated like you just got off the dum-dum bus.
Really?
And so my parents are very smart. Like my dad got like a perfect math SAT. My mom is a brilliant teacher and my brother's an engineer. And so my brother goes, yeah, the way mom and dad talked to you about you, I thought you were an idiot my whole childhood. And then like I grew up and I just realized, oh, like sometimes she gets a B in math.
Oh my God.
Like, so it's just funny to me because like, yeah, I'm like smarter than most people, but most people are also dumb.
But I like the way your brain works.
Yeah, I think it's just like I have my own like Corinne way of life and I figured it out for myself.
I feel like there's not enough people doing that.
No.
I feel like, like I'm the opposite. I think my brain works just comedy only. Like I only think comedy. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if something doesn't serve me comedically, I just pass by it.
Okay.
Like I really don't know what's going on with the I know there's like a trial or something going on with
R. Kelly?
No, I know that fucking.
Oh. Sorry, I was just so excited to talk about R. Kelly.
You're not sliding anything past me about hip hop. I am obsessed with anything hip hop.
How about also pedophilia?
No. R. Kelly, that I watched that with my daughters. That was a mistake. Watched it with my daughters in Utah.
What I mean is, I'm glad that they were able to watch that because I think that documentary series was so.
But I've always had problems when people were like, Elvis met Priscilla when she was 13. Mm-hmm. That's always bothered me.
Good, it should.
It bothered me in high school.
Yeah.
I knew this girl. We'll just call. I just knew this girl. I'm not going to say her name.
Yeah.
We were in freshman year and she was dating a dude that was 25. Mm-hmm. And everyone was cool with it. And I remember being fucking like, that's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was 18, when I turned 18, my senior year in high school, I was dating a girl who was 15. And by the way, I'm not virtue signaling right now. I'm just telling you, I didn't have sex with her because I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like I knew we were dating but I just felt like I was going to college the next year. It felt like an irresponsible thing to do because I didn't lose my virginity until I was 17. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, it was like in my head, I was like, I wasn't ready for it at 15. Because when I lost my virginity, it was like traumatic. Like it was like fucking not fun.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. I wish it had been fucking fun like everyone else's.
No, most people's aren't fun.
Yeah, well, I fucking internalized it because I'm Catholic. I felt guilty. I thought I was getting AIDS. I was like, I'm not ready to have a baby. I'm not ready to start a family. I want to go to college. I want to live a life. I had all these things and I looked at sex as going like, that is the thing that you need to do when you're ready for it. You can't just do it when you're not ready to have a family. That's part of the byproducts.
Wow. A whole family. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because that in my head.
Because I was like, I felt emotionally ready when I had sex, but not to have a family, just to have sex.
But I was like, I'm not ready for an abortion. I'm not ready for all these things.
Yeah, you'll probably never need an abortion.
Not anymore. And so maybe.
Well, I meant you personally will never need one.
But yeah. But and so I didn't have sex with her because I was like, she may feel like she's ready. She's not ready in my head. The next chick I had sex with was in college. Mm-hmm. When I was 18, I was like, I think I could be ready for this. I think I could figure this out. And I was ready. And I don't know how this fucking spiraled into that. What were we talking about before I fucking... Oh, that always bothered me when fucking older dudes dated girls that were under 18. It always rubbed me wrong where I was like, when I found out he married Aaliyah, I was like, by the way, this is when he married Aaliyah. When that was... I was like, hold on. She's like fucking 15 years old.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, I wouldn't date Aaliyah. Mm-hmm. Like, and I loved Aaliyah. Mm-hmm. I loved Aaliyah. Baby girl, I'm the man from the big VA. Won't you come play around my way? And let's do what I'm going to say. Dirty South. You remember that song?
I do remember that song. Absolutely. Yeah.
I used to do, boy, I've been watching you like a hawk from the sky and die, and you were my prey. And then I used to do that on stage when I first started stand-up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to sing that. I'd sing the whole fucking song.
Was there a punchline?
No joke. No joke.
Just a little extra bonus.
No joke. My art's always had a question mark at the end of it.
That's great.
Things I've done on stage, I can just look back and go, huh? Take my shirt off. Today's the first day ever in my life that my dad got on stage the other day, so he's freaking out about it.
Oh, God.
No, not doing stand-up. He got on stage with me in Tampa, and he wants to talk to me about the energy. He's like, that's crazy. Like 1,700 people cheering. That's crazy.
Well, that's interesting that he felt that, because I get a little overwhelmed every time the energy. I can't. I made my therapist like walk me through like creating a box around myself before I go out.
It's a weird thing to go from what we do in small clubs, like 120 seats, like the Cellar, 180 at the OR, where it's a job. It's a punch the clock job. You walk in, you do your set, and you walk off.
Right.
Because none of us really were drawn to the comics that were looking for the standing ovation in that room. It kind of ruins the room if you try to get a standing ovation.
Oh, God. I knock jokes out of my set if they get claps.
Dude, and so it's hard to go from that to then go into a theater and have, maybe 1,000 people excited to see you and embrace that, because it's not... I would say it's disingenuous to the way we start and develop our craft. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, because you're constantly like having to earn it as a comedian. So, but I mean, I think a famous comedian kind of was talking about it, like I don't know, like a Seinfeld or someone, and he was just like, they only really give you the first couple of minutes when they're there for you, and then you have to re-earn it again after that. Yeah. I mean, I'm great at turning my own audience against me pretty quickly, so that's kind of my specialty. I'm known for it. I bomb like the worst in front of guys we fuck fans.
Oh, really?
Because they're used to podcast Corinne, which truly is really me.
Yeah. Podcast Corinne.
Yeah, but I guess it's just it's not coming across. It's over a longer period of time, and so you're hearing words more separated. And when they're in a joke, it's so tight and it's so in your face and it's so undeniably what I am saying and what I am thinking, that there's no way to misinterpret it or to interpret it in your own way, which you can do with podcasting.
And you've also, not
parts you need,
not to be disrespectful, but you've also only been doing it 10 years. Mm-hmm. In my head,
I've been doing like 9 years.
But that is the threshold for where you really start to find your voice.
Oh, that's speaking of Ari Shaffir. That's like it's so funny. Ari's like my guardian angel, because like we're not even that close. We don't talk that often, but anytime we do, or anytime he's mentioned, it's always like the nicest thing that he kind of did unknowingly. And he had.
Hang on, Dad. I'm sorry,
course.
Dad.
Did you answer?
I guess my dad. I answered the phone, and we were just talking to my dad. Oh fuck.
Do you want to text him or something?
No.
Okay. Poor dad.
Jesus Christ. I heard his voice. I was like, is that my dad? Yeah, but Ari's an interesting guy. He is a big fan of what you guys do.
Well, we actually have the same touring agent, and he was like, I had this thing in my head that I was like, I need to go back and go unannounced, like feature for people, because that's I've been like open, but and then I went to headliner, and then there was and I was like, that I shouldn't be headlining yet. Like I can, but I missed a whole middle section of like earning people's trust and laughter in a room where they came to see someone else. They didn't know that I was gonna be there. They don't know who the fuck I am, and I'm gonna do 20 minutes, and I have to make this work.
It's a great way to develop your muscles.
Yeah, and that's what I had been begging my agents to do, and they're very against it, because of course it's not lucrative. Like they can send us to a theater where we can sell out like 2,000 seats, or they can book me at this Italian restaurant for 70 people where I'm going to get paid like $50 like that, and that's what I wanted to do.
But it's important for your development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Ari, and just serendipitously, was like, oh, I wanted to talk to you. And that's basically what he was saying. He's like, it's such an important time for you. You're 8, 9. Like, it's where you're really like defining exactly what your voice as a comedian is going to be.
If you took off now in the way that like that some people have, where you're 9 years in and all of a sudden you're selling out arenas, it stunts your growth. It doesn't allow you to develop into what you could be. It's the real. This is once again choosing my words wisely, but saying something stupid. It is the real problem with female comedians, is that the industry is so hungry for them,
right?
That they pick them out before they're ripe.
It's anyone besides like I would say like straight black or white guys. Like those are the only two people who like they're always working. But like any other type of person, the industry is so hungry for. So just getting ahead.
It happens to skinny young black guys. The industry is always looking for a new ship.
Skinny young black guys.
Skinny young black guys get pulled out quickly.
Oh, because I was just like like straight men in general.
White dudes
maybe
get the
Asian,
luxury, and it's not entirely a luxury because I'm sure our suicide rates are higher than anyone's in this business, in comedy exclusively.
God, for
but
sure.
Single, like straight white dudes get allowed the luxury to do stand-up anonymous for 20 years. And so then 20 years in, people discover you and they're like, God damn it.
You're so
who the fuck
good.
Is Bill Burr?
Right.
Oh, Bill Burr did stand up anonymously for 20 years.
Right.
Anonymously.
Yeah.
Put out 2 specials on Comedy Central. No one fucking saw them.
Oh gosh.
And then
funny. Yeah.
and it's just that luxury is not afforded to women usually. Women, it's like the fucking let's go. We got half this population's a female. They're hungry for fucking female comics with a voice. It's what happened to Amy. Amy was a competent comic, you know.
So funny. I mean, I've known her for like she was in my junior year student film. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a competent comic that loved comedy, was a diehard comedy fan, was aggressively in the scene, and then all of a sudden this world was like, yo, we got our voice. And I think Amy had to shift a little bit of what she was talking about. She got called out on it, and they were just younger jokes, and that woke group wasn't allowing her to have been a different person, and then they thrust her to be this one person, and then she's like, fuck, makes a great fucking movie. And it's like things are moving so fast, you don't have time to put your ski boots on. You're literally like hauling ass going, fuck, why wouldn't I do a Netflix special? Fuck, let's do another Netflix special. Okay, I can do it. Come on. Let's take let's 3 movies. Why not? Why fucking not? Has she been a straight white dude? She'd be fucking 45 years old and all these opportunities would show up and she'd be like, oh, I'm very ready for all this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can definitely panel on Conan. I can do everything. And I'm not gonna, and I will probably stay a little truer to my voice. But I saw the trailer for her new Netflix special. It looks good.
Oh, I didn't see that yet. I just saw that it was what growing up was, right? Yeah,
it's growing.
Growing.
Yeah, I think because it's a play on the valley.
Oh, okay. I guess that was another. But I was like saw the. It's just her face. It says Amy too.
Yeah.
All the billboards. I love it.
But yeah, I feel, and so what I think Ari was saying, what I like about what you said.
Well, it was great. It's great when someone you admire says the same thing, isolated from what you were thinking and telling your agents all along, and then also I can go back and I'm like, oh, well, Ari also said.
Yeah.
This is what Ari told me to do too. So now 2 of us are saying it.
I mean, I didn't know my voice. I did that entire Comfortably Dumb special. I am not embarrassed of, but I look at some of the jokes in there and I go, what the fuck was I doing?
That does not even look like you.
I know.
Holy shit.
You should see my set list. My set list is black people, Mexicans, Asians. That's my whole fucking set list. And you're just like, you look at some of it and you're like, ugh. I mean, some of the jokes I stand by. Some of the jokes you just go, oh. But
also comedy expires and it needs to be allowed to. I mean, if you go, I went back to watch Eddie Murphy special and it starts with like 10 minutes on faggots.
Oh,
like, you go, man, what?
I don't like faggots looking at my ass.
Yeah, and I mean, and it was
fuck around and get AIDS.
Yeah, and I was like, Corinne, you're a comedian. You just sit through this. But I mean,
it's tough.
I was like feeling like feelings in my chest,
dude. All I could think
was hard.
All I could think was the 10 gay guys that probably worked on that special had to be like, that was great, Eddie. You know, we're people too. But it was of that time. That was like, I mean, I remember AIDS. I remember AIDS vividly. I had 2 uncles die of AIDS.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
By relation. They were my uncle, my godfather, married a woman who had 2 brothers, and they both died of AIDS, but they were very close to us. Well, it was a very small Tampa part of our family. Most of our family's in Philadelphia. And both these guys were cool as shit. They were really great guys, and I knew them, and I knew them very well. I was young, so I would hang out with them. Like I would do stuff with them. And the things that people said about them when they got AIDS was super aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, like super aggressive. The things that not to be shitty, but my other uncles said about them that weren't blood related were really shitty. And, but and now you would never say that. You would never, ever, ever say that. But I remember that was the norm. These gay guys got a disease and they're all going to die. And that was your reality back then. I remember watching it on 2020 when 2020 first covered AIDS. And I went down to my dad and I was like, I think I have AIDS. And he was like, what? And I go, I've got these marks on he goes, those aren't lesions, buddy. Those are freckles. And I was like, oh. But I thought AIDS was such a it's like being around during a plague.
Yeah.
And surviving it, not knowing, a lot of the straight guys are coming out of this okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, and then you look and it was such a release of emotions when someone like Eddie Murphy was like, stay away from faggots. And you're like, and in a weird way as a kid, I remember watching that kid especially with my parents downstairs, and everyone's howling, laughing. You're like, oh, I don't want AIDS.
Yeah.
And no one had any facts about it. No one knew any truth about it.
Right.
But it is interesting to watch that Eddie Murphy special and just cringe.
Yeah. And as a culture, I feel like we're just constantly like, we love when people like get hurt or damaged from seeking pleasure. Because that's what it is. That's what that AIDS, slut shaming. It's all like, even like people who are overweight, like,
dude,
because it's like, oh, you didn't like, it's like, yeah, that's all it is.
Of course. Can I tell you? So I've been doing hot spin lately. So they get the room up to like, I think I don't know how hot. But I think like 100 something.
Spin's already so hot.
And it's, dude,
yeah,
it is.
I do Soul Cycle.
I love Soul
Cycle.
I'm
like very into it. I'm like ashamed how much I like it. I love basic bitch stuff.
Are you going to Soul Cycle tomorrow? There's a great one in Hollywood.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I would dare you to come to this hot spin at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm doing it with my sister. I'll pay for you if you want to go. They have shoes you can rent there, and you will. It gives you anxiety. It's 55 minutes.
I'm afraid I'm going to actually die. I mean, I'll go for. I'm pretty good at like just going for stuff.
I think my two cousins are coming with us.
Well, wow.
Yeah, my 2 cousins, both the ones whose uncles were the ones that died of AIDS.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I won't bring that up.
Yeah. But I said to myself today, I got drunk last night, and I went to hot spin, and I thought, what if I had a stroke in here? I was like, you know what? No one would be empathetic. What they would say is, of course, he's 247 pounds. What the fuck's he? I
was like, you look trim, actually.
246 today. But
I noticed. Yeah.
But they go, of course. And if I got cancer, everyone would be like, yeah, of course. Look at his lifestyle. He's a fat fuck. It's like, you're right. People love slamming those seeking pleasure,
because everyone really wants to seek pleasure, and so it's like almost like you're like whatever, you're hangry, but like you're hangry for whatever it is if you're keep not allowing yourself those pleasures.
Yeah.
Because everything in our life tells us not to seek too much pleasure. I mean, like even like American culture, like everyone makes fun of us, but like we really don't relax very much in American culture, and religion's certainly not telling you to do anything enjoyable. So all these things, your parents are on your ass, your husband or your wife, like you're not working hard enough, you got to do this. And yourself, I'm my biggest enemy as far as that goes. Yeah. I literally have a joke about how I don't know how to have fun, and that's what I'm working on. Like in therapy right now, like that's the kind of things I'm working on, like having fun.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's the kind of things I'm dealing with.
I'm an expert in that.
Yeah, no,
I'm an expert in gluttony.
Yeah. And that's why it's really good to have Christine around, because she's really good at like treating herself. And then I'm really strict. And so then together we kind of come in the middle and get things done. It's so funny.
You have a hard time having fun?
Yeah. I mean, like I love like a psychedelic. So that's why I love psychedelics. So because it's the one time where I'm not going to be worrying about something because it like lets my mind relax enough that I can enjoy the time.
Do you smoke weed?
It doesn't do anything for me. That's why I do like mushrooms or LSD. I've done DMT.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what about like this is going to sound super silly, but like sometimes I'll just say to my wife, hey, let's rent the big slide, get the water slide in our front yard. And then just call our friends and come over and we'll all just drink and do the slide all day. See,
I would absolutely do something like that, but I would structure it so much and like make a theme that it would make it unfun for myself. Everyone else at the party would have fun, but I would not have fun.
That's interesting.
I'm like a notoriously amazing party planner. I've thrown some of the best parties that any of my friends have been to, like killer, but I just, it has to be like so perfect that I end up, day of just worrying about everyone else because like I kind of also like know like I'm going to be fine, and it irritates me more when people around me are complaining. So I'd rather kind of like take it and like be a little unhappy rather than listen to other people complain or have them not have a good time or enjoy what I'm doing. Because
That's
for me, then it's like I failed at my own party, because like I know I can throw the fucking best party, but like I gotta really put my all into it.
My wife says I can throw a party. She goes, you throw a great party, but you don't throw the party at all. You just tell everyone, hey, we're coming over to our house.
Okay. So
and then she goes, all you worry about is booze and meat. And then everything else is up with like, who the fuck does the rest, Bert? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I'll go get a brisket, and then we got Tito's. Let's have a party. And so all I give a fuck about is, I guess I'm very selfish because I just take care of myself in that scene, in that essence. I go, we're going to smoke a brisket. We're going to drink. We'll throw the TVs on. We'll watch some football back here. What about snacks? I don't know. I don't think past, let's get the big slide. I think about my needs. I'm a very selfish. I think I got to go back to therapy this week. I do mine on Skype too.
Yeah, it's like it.
Do you ever not tell everything because you're afraid someone's recording your Skypes?
No.
Well, me either then.
That's no. I wish I can feel people's energy a little bit better in person. So I wish I could like meet, like I've actually never met her in real life. She like lives in Florida. But yeah, no, I don't. I'm like, my nickname is the Halloween Nazi. Going back to the party thing.
The Halloween Nazi. What do you mean?
Because I have fantastic Halloween costumes. Everyone knows like Halloween's my holiday. Like if you want to have the best Halloween ever, spend it with Corinne. But I'm so serious about it that it becomes not fun.
That's fucking.
Again, everyone else has fun, just not me. Because I'll be up and like, I mean, my costume has to be so spot on. I'll be like, I was like the Joker this year, but I got this like custom made latex suit, so it was like this very interesting take on it. And of course it had like a political statement because I'm like, yeah, comedy's under attack, so I'm gonna be like, ha, I'm the joke.
My God.
Like, I mean, it was this is on my head too. I'm not like fucking explaining this to everyone.
No, that's great.
But I mean, I just had to take everything too far.
Oh, I just went in blackface this year. Dude, I remember when that was a costume.
Oh God,
in the South. I remember. I said to Ali Sadiq and I were doing a podcast a long time ago, and I said, do you remember when like blackface was okay? And he goes, it was never okay. And I went, no, but I meant like you saw it around. And he goes, Bert, you did not do it in front of black people. Only you saw that. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
I mean, I to this day, I swear to you, there was a picture on Facebook that's gone now. Our cheerleading squad in like 1986, 87 came out in blackface to Babies Got Back.
Oh my goodness.
Not like, I don't want to like smear them into they didn't have like the red lips and I mean, it wasn't like good blackface.
It wasn't like Jolson's story.
Yeah, it was just like brown paint on their face and wigs. And I mean, I don't think I wasn't outraged when I saw it. So it put me in the lump of bad people. I was like, how that worked. You're like, oh, you know. But
I think I was always confused about like if you want to dress up as like a character. But I mean, like I was Storm in the 4th grade and just as a white person. Then would people get mad if I did that today because I'm white and I was Storm? I just fucking love Storm.
Yeah,
she's my favorite character.
They probably would because you would go. No, I don't think as a costume they wouldn't mind it. But I have a problem with makeup. Like I don't like clowns.
Oh, okay.
So like I've been in full face makeup once in first grade.
Okay.
Once in first grade, I dressed as Kiss, and the whole time I can't close my lips because I'm afraid it's going to get in my mouth, and that grosses me out.
It does taste bad, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just like this the whole time. I did the thing. There's a picture of me, and I'm sure in my first grade yearbook, and I'm going like this because I can't. It's like creaking the huck out. And so that's the only reason I know I never was in blackface, because if there is a picture of me in blackface, it's me with my lips aggressively out like this.
And that's even worse, honestly. So it feels worse.
There's a picture of me in war paint one time, and one of my friends was like, dude, you got to take that down. I was like, huh? Like just fucking like, do you ever see Dead Presidents? Where it was like it's like almost like an orca spot over your face.
Yeah, what?
I don't know. People get. I literally could talk to you for fucking hours. You're such an easy conversationalist. It's no fucking wonder. Once you sat down and started talking, it's no wonder you guys have the fucking biggest podcast in the fucking world, because it's top five, whatever. You were about to correct me.
No. I was like, no. I mean, there's so many podcasts now that it's just not the same. But I was like, your podcast is always up on the.
No, I stopped looking at all of that. I stopped looking at a bunch of things because things were holding me back. Let go of that which does not serve you. That's my fucking.
Oh, that's it. And that's the first thing kind of you said when we sat down. It's so interesting because Christina and I both broke up with our boyfriends. Really, just we didn't tell each other. Like I didn't tell anyone for a month after I did it, because I just needed to digest it like privately. And it was because the relationships weren't serving us, which is the exact like terminology we used. And you just have to, and that's so important. And I mean, even things like saying no to like going to a party you don't want to go to. Just like I think you can be selfish in those ways.
Saying no to I love
saying no.
I can now a lot easier say no to things that I don't like, because I don't want to resent you. Like if I do it, I will do it because I'm your friend. But then our friendship's gonna suck because I will resent you. And it's like. Oh, it's my assistant. Hold on one second.
Sure, of course.
Hang on one second. Hey, what's up?
Yo, did you see my text about the cabin?
No, hold on. I'm on a podcast. You're on the thing.
Oh shit, so?
No, okay, I'll call you back.
All right.
Bye. So yeah, but I have friends like Tom Segura will not do something he doesn't want to do. He's probably my best friend, and he's very. I remember one time I got offered a reboot of the Man Show. Well, they probably shouldn't be talking about this, but whatever.
I'm actually really happy you said that, because I would love that show to come back. But.
Well, it wasn't the show that it.
Oh, okay.
It was. So what happened is, okay, maybe I'll stay out of the legal parts of this. But anyway, someone has the rights to the Man Show, and they hit me up and they're like, "We want you to do the Man Show." And I was like, "That would be cool." Well, let me think about it. And I talked to a couple people that had done the Man Show previously said that they thought it was a bad idea. And I said, the only way I'd do it is with Tom, because, and Tom wasn't a name back then. He was building his name. He'd done his Netflix special. He was starting a tour, starting to sell tickets. And I said, hey man, would you do the Man Show with me? And he's like, nope. And I was like, all right. And I was like, I'm out.
Right.
I was like, I'm not doing it. And he was like, I mean, like if you need me to do the pilot or something, but like,
right.
We're not going to like it. And I'm not going to want to be there. And I'd just be doing it because you're my friend. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. And so Tom has no problem telling you what he needs or what he wants. That's something I'm not good at. I'm not good. I don't often tell you what I want or what I need.
Oh.
And I just do with the thing you need me to do. And then I fucking resent you.
I'm really good in real life. Like my mom always was like, you're a really easy kid to raise, because it's always, even though the things you want were very hard to get or hard to achieve, and we would like spend hours driving around for like a piece for a Halloween costume. She's like, you always made it clear exactly what you wanted and what you needed, even though it was so extra.
Great. That's so great though, because my oldest daughter doesn't tell me what she wants or what she needs. My youngest daughter, she is very direct about what she needs.
Yeah. And I think it's just so much easier if you just tell people what you need, because then we can all like work together instead of like trying to decode whatever you're thinking. But, working in it with a comedy partner, that's like the one time I feel like sometimes I just always don't want to be like the Debbie Downer, and I totally am, but it's also like a lot of things coming into my decisions. Like I definitely stand up for myself a lot. I have very specific like vision that I have for my own career trajectory. And then also I have a background in talent management, so I feel like there's like things I can see that sometimes just as talent you can't see.
Yeah.
Because I've just been through this so much with other people. You know, I've seen other famous actors come in and cry over failures, or heard industry execs call people who are not fat, and like I just kind of like know other stuff. So I'll want to say, and I'm like just trying to get better this year about saying no to things that I really don't, because every time I say yes to something I don't want to do, I end up like causing a scene, walking off of something, because like once I'm there, if I don't want to be there anymore, I'm gonna walk off. I walked off in the middle of a fucking live podcast taping at the Village Underground. I mean, the staff apparently thought it was hilarious because the person deserves it, but
Louis J. Gomez?
No. Oh, me and Louis reconciled after many years.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, we did, but it's okay.
I love Louis.
We sat down and had to talk about it because I don't want to be mad at anyone. It's too much energy, and plus my list was getting very long of people that I didn't want to see. So at a certain point, you have to let other people back in.
Oh, that's fucking great.
And I love Big J. So
I love Big J. Big J is one of the you learn a lot from good people, and like Big J texted me one night and he was like, hey man, I'm really glad that we've gotten closer and been able to be friends. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I wouldn't say that to people. I'm afraid to text them. I'm afraid to be
just out of nowhere. He said that.
Yeah, just
That's
out of
sweet.
nowhere.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, me too, man. I would never have said that. But that means a lot that you said that. It means a lot to me. It means a great deal to me. And then he was like, hey, next time you come to New York, why don't you fly in a day early and we'll hang out? And I was like, yeah, as opposed to doing, yeah. So I flew in. Last time I was in New York, I texted him. I said, hey, I got shows like whatever. I had something to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, promote the special, I think. And I said, but I think I'm going to fly in Sunday. When you want to do something Sunday night? He goes, hey, Sunday night we go to Wayne's house and watch YouTube videos and get high. You want to go? And I was like, yeah.
That's what we do on Sundays.
Yeah, and it was really fucking fun.
Yeah.
And it was no responsibility. It was just hanging out with a friend. Ari's really good at that, of going like, hey, man, let's go do something. Ari's really good at being vulnerable, too. I don't know if everyone sees that. The first time I met Ari, Sam Tripoli, Big J, there are certain people that affect your life because they do something cool. Sam Tripoli, I was doing and there's lots of these guys. These are the ones that come to mind. We were doing a National Lampoon show on the Santa Monica Pier. It was like 20, 40 comics maybe. Sam Tripoli walked up to me and said, I didn't know anybody. I was a New York comic out in LA, but I just moved out to LA. I had a TV show, but I didn't know anyone. And I didn't talk to anyone. I was standing by myself. Sam Tripoli came up and said, hey man, I think you're hilarious. I love that touching the cop's face joke. Are you doing that tonight? I said, I am. And he goes, that's a great joke, man. I'm excited to see it. And I went, I'm Bert. And he's like, I'm Sam. I was like, I'm excited to see your set. Sam destroyed. And we've been friends ever since.
Oh, okay.
Ari Shafir came up to me at the Improv one time and he goes, my name's Ari. I think you're very funny. And I went,
that sounds just like him.
And I went, oh, I think you're hilarious. He's like, you do? I was like, yeah, I think you're great, man. I saw The Amazing Racist and it made me laugh my dick off.
Oh my God, yes.
And he was like, oh, okay. And then he said, and I don't know if this is entirely accurate, the timing, he said because I was in the room and I had said he's funny, he wanted to impress me. So he did his joke where he took his dick out. Do you ever remember that joke he had?
I don't remember. I've seen his dick, but that's for another.
Everyone's seen Ari's dick.
I know we asked him to take it out because he had just gotten a vasectomy.
Yeah. He was like, guys are always ready for a blowjob. I'm always ready for a blowjob. Watch. And he dropped his pants and his dick was out. And he was like, see,
God.
I'm ready for a blowjob. And he got banned from the Improv for like a month for that.
That's very sweet, though. I know I get nervous when people like with Ari, like he'll be in the room and I'm like, please, everyone needs to leave the room. I'm like, I only want fucking audience in the room.
By the way, yeah, it's. I think we're all like that. Where I go, hey, I'm cool with no one being in the room right now.
Yeah.
And I know you guys don't give a fuck about watching me. You're only doing it to be polite because you're like, oh, I'll go watch Bert, And I'm like, no, don't. Just get.
Well, I try not to tell people like if I'm gonna watch them because I just for me I know it makes me feel like weird.
Oh, sometimes I'll go like when like Tom's going or Christina. I'll go, I'll go watch you in the back. I'll give you good laughs. Christina will be like, get the fuck, please do not watch my fucking set.
Oh my God. The only person who I always loved having in the room was Kevin Meaney, no matter what, because no matter if you were bombing or killing, like his laugh would cover the entire room and you'd feel like a fucking superstar.
I got to get you out of here. It's 3:00. We've been talking for 2 hours. What time? You've got to go.
Oh yeah. No, I was like, I looked at all the lengths of your podcast and timed the next one accordingly. So
perfect. Whose podcast are you doing next?
Sklar Brothers.
Oh, that's right. Dumb People Town? Mm-hmm. I've done that. It's a really fun podcast.
Yeah, I think it's like the third time. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah. What? When do you and does guys we fucked ever come out to LA and do podcasts out here?
Have we ever done it live out here? I don't know. I don't know that we have actually done the podcast out here because when we tour, we don't really do the podcast because we want to do stand up. Like I'm like we're not touring if we're not doing stand up. So we just usually do a show at the main room in the Comedy Store and like invite some people. Like we got Dane Cook to come on, which was for me was like crazy. I mean, I was like obsessed. I was obsessed with Dane Cook in college to the level where like. I was like, well, if he just meets me, he'll fall in love with me. He just hasn't met me yet, you know?
Yeah.
And then I told that story and he was able to listen to it and it was very embarrassing, but also fun.
Dane's an interesting
very
guy.
Sweet, yeah.
He just hit me up to do my podcast and I was like, oh, can't wait.
Yes.
I've known Dane for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's amazing how long you've known people. Like Brody just passed. I've known Brody for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know, it's so insane that you'd know someone for that fucking long. There's guys I grew up with that I thought were my best friends. I only knew them for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm. It's about the time that you spent together and also what you are doing in that time. So I feel like every comedian, like I can feel close to a comedian like a year because we're going through the trenches together.
Yeah. And comedians can connect a lot, I think, a lot quicker than the average person. Because
you cut through the bullshit too.
Yeah, and it's like all the fucking... There's a lot of shorthands we don't have to worry about. We don't have to dance around about with each other that I think other people do. It's like that old thing that I remember Stanhope said a long time ago. Oh, I would much rather hang out. He goes, people think I hate Dane Cook. I would much rather hang out with Dane Cook than with one of my fans who wants to talk bad about Dane Cook. He's like, I would much rather want to hang out with Dane Cook. And you forget Dane's like a fucking mega movie star and very wealthy and big comedian, but he's also just a comic. I mean, like at the tail end of it, everyone started. It's almost like the thing that makes a fraternity good is going through the pledgeship, because you go, no matter how cool you think you are now, at one point someone yelled at you and made you hold pumpkin pulp in your mouth.
Right.
Like that's you. At one point you had to get naked and stand in a room with a paddle behind your back with a blindfold on and a roll of quarters and a thing of Vaseline. Like at one point you had to be broken down.
Yeah. And that's what I like to tell everyone. Like I'm like anyone who's like a high level comedian selling out stadiums and stuff. I'm like, even if you don't think they're funny, or I'm like, I can guarantee that they probably worked very hard to get there. So like that's the one thing. And I'm like comedy is like, if there's a comedian who everyone in the room thinks they're hilarious, I'm like, that seems to me like a very vague comedian anyway.
Yeah.
There should be a couple people who are like, I don't get it because it's not your kind of comedy.
There's you look at Russell Peters flying around in private jets, doing arenas, traveling the world, probably one of the biggest comics in the world.
Yeah.
I remember Russell Peters, who was handing out flyers to get people to go to his show seated 120 people.
Right.
That's the guy I met.
Yeah.
That hustler, that fucking sit down with me and Patrice and Rich Voss at a fucking chip shop in Scotland and just hard sell himself. Come on, guys, you got to come see my show. Come on, guys. Like he's always gonna be a comic. That comic.
Yeah, and I love that part because I love seeing people, because you're like, seeing people like an Amy Schumer, you're like, okay, this makes it so much more tangible for me. Like when you see someone else being able to do it, you see the steps. It wasn't some smoke and mirrors. It wasn't like some agent that you never met. Like you're like, I saw this person go through all the things, and now I'm going to go out and do all those things.
I know an Amy Schumer who we would call up. This is how broke she was. We would call her up and go, hey, we're going on vacation for a month. Our house is open. Do you want to stay at our house and hang out in Hollywood for a month?
Oh my gosh.
And she'd be like, yep.
Oh yeah, there's someone using my apartment right now, like watching my dog, but I'm like, yeah, but you don't know roommates. And I mean, I'm paying them too, but like.
Amy would just come out, had our car if she needed it. My sisters lived down the street.
Yeah.
She'd go down, smoke out with my sisters, go back to our house,
that sounds
sleep.
Great.
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah. It's so fun.
Well, our house will be open.
I would totally stay at someone's house. And also it's just like sometimes easier to write in an environment that is not yours because they're like, well, I can't touch everything here.
I want to rent this to a comedian. My wife will never do this. I want to rent this house. I want to buy a new house, and I want to rent this house to a comedian who is young, starting a family, because it's this house has got such good energy. It's such a lucky house.
What a sweet.
And I want to make it affordable for him, so it's not like he's not
sweet.
He's not like fucking. But then of course my wife's like, fucking rent it for $7,000. Fuck that guy. But I think this would be a place where a comic could really fucking take off, because I always felt comfortable leaving my family here because it's a nice house. It's secure. It's safe.
Right. But sometimes all you need is like a little, kind of like a gesture like that. Even like when I quit my like real job to pursue comedy, and I like got like a dick around job as a receptionist at a spa, I was just so thankful for that job, because you just need you need something to help facilitate the other things. Because like when you honestly, like when you're working towards being a comedian, like we just stop worrying about the everyday things like eating or like paying your rent that you really need to concentrate on, but there's no time to, because it's so competitive. Yeah.
Now my brain's going. All right, I got to get you out of here. Well, I'm going to go do a Something's Burning.
Do it.
You're doing the Sklar Brothers.
Yes.
What time are you going out there?
4:15 is
4:15
is my call time.
Oh, nice. This was a seamlessly great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're fucking absolutely fantastic. I love everything about you. I love the way, even on things that I don't understand or don't agree with, I love hearing your perspective because it opens my mind. And I'm fucking not. I refuse to be the old man who's not listening to anyone anymore. And
we all need to listen to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. People need to listen, and I'm fucking so happy I met you guys so long ago, and continued success.
Thank you.
The podcast is Guys We Fucked. It's fucking amazing. I know you already know about it. If you're listening to this, you definitely have already listened to that. But thank you.
This is so sweet. When do you ever leave a podcast like tingling? I feel very good. Thank you, Bert.
I tingle every time I leave Rogan's.
I love it.
But it's usually from marijuana.
You're very sweet. Thank you, Bert.
Yeah, thank you.